the preacher here, he states that it will be well for those who fear God, and it will not go well for the wicked. In light of this, what comfort can you give the Christian who continually sees wicked people prosper and those who love God inordinately suffer?
Yeah, I think a couple of things at least come to mind about that, is that we comfort such an individual and comfort ourselves when we see that, because we all see the same. We see that happening.
Yeah.
With the final judgment, I mean, there is going to be a day where all things are reckoned right, and they're going to be put together, and justice will be done. And so we know God has promised that, and He will deliver on that promise. And in the meantime, we know that God is sovereign and controls the world, and so He's using even evil for good.
Yes.
And you know, what's one of the Puritans said, you know, He can take a crooked stick and make a straight line, you know, and that's how our God is working, and we have to wait upon Him and be humbled by the fact that we don't see everything happening perfectly yet, but the kingdom has not fully come yet, and we still live in a sinful world, and there's going to be injustices until Christ makes everything right.
I think you bring up a good point, because regarding the kingdom, I mean, we're in Ecclesiastes, and the new covenant, the kingdom's at a different place in redemptive history in the new covenant. It talks often about how the righteous will suffer for the sake of the gospel, and so it's a very interesting change, where in the old covenant, if you obeyed, you'd often be blessed, or if you disobeyed, you'd be quote unquote cursed.
Yeah, because the context was of the Mosaic covenant, and that's the way it was designed. If you did right, you were supposed to be at least exonerated,
temporally blessed, like physically,
if
materially.
It was functioning properly, right? Where we realize that kings didn't always make it function even within the Mosaic covenant properly, point. So there was still evil, even in that theocracy, you know.
But the paradigm now seems to be, well, if you obey, be prepared to be persecuted. Christ says, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, right? For theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
That, yeah.
So there's almost a change redemptive historically, and I think that's where you see maybe certain prosperity gospel proprietors misunderstand those blessings and curses, where they read that Old Testament temporal, physical blessing for obedience, when often in the New Testament you could have the very opposite happen.
Right.
It's always good to obey, right? But the reaping sometimes is a little different. It depends where you live, what age you live, but yeah. How are we to make sense of the wicked who prosper? I think of Asaph in Psalm 73. Remember, he's asking himself, the wicked, they're prospering. I look all around, and then I go into the church, and I realize, God's still in control.
That's right.
So
that's all the more reason why people need to find a church and get into a gospel preaching church, because they need to have that place where they can come and reorient themselves to reality from God's word.
6 days is just enough, huh? Yeah, you need to come back and get reoriented.
That's right. Yeah. And the Lord has designed it that way, that we have 6 days of labor and we gather for worship. And I think a good friend of mine said that 6 days is just long enough to start to forget you're a Christian,
Yeah.
And so we need to come back and remember who we are and have that proclaimed to us, and what Christ has done for us.